When shelves are empty, the obvious foods disappear first. But some of the best emergency foods sit untouched because people don't recognize their value. These 11 secret stockpile items are cheap, practical, and seriously overlooked. Item 11. Instant noodle blocks, the cheap meal saver. Most shoppers underestimate instant noodle blocks because they look too simple. That is the mistake. In a real pantry plan, the goal is not just storing calories. The goal is storing food people will actually eat when choices become limited. Plain rice and beans may keep a household fed, but after several days, the same bland meals can start feeling like a punishment. That is where better quality instant noodle blocks become useful. The smart move is not grabbing the cheapest packets from the regular grocery aisle. Look at Asian markets and international aisles where the noodle blocks often have richer seasoning, dried vegetables, and stronger broth flavors. The seasoning packet is the hidden value. It can upgrade rice, soup, tofu, TVP, or canned vegetables without needing fresh ingredients. Store the blocks in their original packaging inside a sealed bin to protect them from moisture and damage. Rotate them into normal meals so the household already knows which flavors work. This is not about stacking random food in a corner. It is about building a pantry that stays useful when regular shopping becomes harder. The source highlights instant noodle blocks as a morale and flavor item, not just a cheap filler. Item 10. Nutritional yeast, the flavor booster. Most people ignore. Nutritional yeast does not look exciting, and the name does not help. Most people see a container of yellow flakes and walk right past it. That is exactly why it belongs on this list. It is shelf-stable, easy to use, and helpful when basic meals start tasting flat. The value of nutritional yeast is simple. It adds a savory, slightly cheesy, nutty flavor to plain food. Sprinkle it over rice, stir it into soup, mix it with noodles, or add it to vegetables. A small amount can make a basic pantry meal feel more complete. That matters because a weak stockpile is not only one that runs out of food. A weak stockpile is also one that nobody wants to eat. Some fortified nutritional yeast products also include B vitamins, including B12, but the label matters because not every brand is fortified the same way. Do not assume every container has the same nutrition. The practical advice is to test it before buying more. Use it now in normal meals. If the household likes it, keep it in rotation. If not, do not force it. A smart pantry is built around food people accept without resistance. Item 9. Japanese curry roux blocks, the brick that turns rice into dinner. Japanese curry roux blocks are one of the easiest ways to make stored food feel like a real meal. They usually come in a small box and look like a bar of chocolate, but when dissolved in hot water, they create a thick curry sauce that can cover rice, noodles, tofu, canned vegetables, or TVP. This matters because emergency-style pantry food often fails in one place. Meals feel unfinished. Rice is useful, but rice alone gets old. TVP is useful, but plain. TVP is not something most people get excited about. Add curry sauce, and suddenly those same ingredients become dinner. That is the difference between having ingredients and having meals. The source calls curry roux a flavor brick, and that is the right way to think about it. It is compact, shelf-stable, and powerful enough to connect multiple pantry items into one satisfying dish. Just do not buy blindly. Many curry roux products contain wheat, milk ingredients, or other allergens, so labels must be checked before buying several boxes. Buy one, cook with it, see how it works, then stock the version the household actually enjoys. Item 8. Bouillon cubes, the tiny item that changes everything. Bouillon cubes are boring, and boring food items are often the ones that quietly do the most work. Most shoppers do not rush for bouillon because it does not look like a main food. But bouillon is not supposed to be the main food. It is the item that makes the main food easier to eat. One cube can turn hot water into broth. It can flavor rice while it cooks. It can make noodles taste better. It can help rehydrated TVP absorb a stronger flavor. It can also turn canned vegetables into a quick soup instead of a dull side dish. That is a lot of value from something small enough to fit in a jar. There is one practical warning. Many bouillon cubes are high in sodium. That does not make them bad, but it means the water plan cannot be ignored. If a pantry relies heavily on salty items like noodles, miso, bouillon, and sauces, the household needs enough water to match that food plan. Store bouillon in sealed jars or airtight containers because moisture can ruin the cubes. Keep them dry, rotate them, and use them regularly. Item 7. Dried mushrooms, the flavor and texture fix. Dried mushrooms solve a problem most beginners do not think about until it is too late: texture boredom. A pantry full of rice, beans, noodles, and canned goods can become soft and repetitive. After a while, meals may technically be filling, but they stop feeling satisfying. Dried mushrooms help fix that. Shiitake mushrooms and mixed dried mushrooms are especially useful because they bring deep, savory flavor. When soaked in water, they soften and release flavor into the soaking liquid. Do not throw that liquid away. Use it as a broth base for rice, noodles, soup, or sauce. That one step can make basic pantry food taste much richer. The source points out that dried mushrooms help with both flavor flatness and texture loss, and that is a strong stockpile lesson. Food variety is not only about having different items on a shelf, it is about creating meals that feel different when eaten. Buy whole dried mushrooms when possible, not only powder adds flavor, but whole pieces add bite. Store them sealed, cool, and dry, then practice using them before they are truly needed. Item 6. Dried seaweed, the lightweight pantry helper. Dried seaweed is easy to overlook because many households do not cook with it often, but that is exactly why it can stay available when obvious staples disappear first. Nori, wakame, and similar dried seaweed products are light, compact, and simple to store. A little can add variety to rice, soup, noodles, and broth. The source focuses on iodine, but this point needs to stay realistic. Seaweed can contain iodine, but the amount varies widely depending on the type and brand. So the smart approach is not treating seaweed like a magic supplement. The smart approach is using it as a small pantry item that adds minerals, flavor, and variety. Crumble nori into rice, add wakame to soup, use seaweed with miso, tofu, or noodles. It does not need to dominate the meal. It just gives the pantry another layer. And that matters because when the same foods repeat too often, even good supplies start feeling limited. If this list is already making you rethink your pantry, subscribe now. I'll keep the next part just as practical. Item 5, miso packets, the fast soup foundation. Miso packets are useful because they turn hot water into a savory soup base in seconds. That may sound simple, but simple is valuable when people are tired, busy, or cooking with limited options. A warm bowl of miso soup can become the base for rice, noodles, seaweed, tofu, or vegetables. The packet format is especially practical. A tub of miso can be useful too, but packets reduce waste and keep each serving sealed until used. That makes them easier to organize and easier to rotate. For a small pantry space, that matters. The source describes miso as a fermented foundation, which is a helpful way to frame it. It adds depth and warmth to food that might otherwise feel plain. The key is to test brands first. Some are mild, some are salty, and some include small extras like seaweed or tofu pieces. Do not buy a large supply because someone online said it was smart. Try it in normal meals first. If it fits, keep it as part of the regular rotation. Item 4, shelf-stable silken tofu, the quiet protein extender. Most people think tofu always needs refrigeration, so shelf-stable silken tofu gets ignored. That is the opportunity. Some silken tofu comes in shelf-stable packaging and can sit at room temperature until opened, as long as the package instructions allow it. It is soft, mild, and easy to add into meals. The real strength of silken tofu is that it absorbs flavor. Add it to miso soup, curry sauce, noodles, rice porridge, or blended soups, and it makes the meal feel more substantial. It does not overpower the dish. It quietly stretches it. The source calls this the invisible extender, and that phrase works because it explains the function clearly. Blend silken tofu into soup or sauce, and the texture becomes thicker while the meal becomes more filling. Once opened, though, it must be treated like fresh food. Use it quickly or refrigerate it if refrigeration is available. A good stockpile is not just about buying food, it is about knowing the rules for using each item safely. Item 3, chia seeds, the no-cook food that earns its space. Chia seeds are small, but they are useful because they need no cooking. They can be sprinkled into food, mixed with oats, stirred into drinks, or soaked into a gel. When fuel, time, or energy is limited, that kind of flexibility matters. Chia seeds provide fiber, fat, and some protein. They also absorb liquid, which is why people often soak them before eating. The realistic point is not that chia seeds solve everything. They do not. The realistic point is that they help make simple meals more filling and can be prepared with very little effort. Start with small amounts if the household is not used to them. Suddenly, adding too much fiber is not smart. Test them now in oatmeal, simple drinks, or soft meals. Store them sealed in a cool, dry place and rotate them like any other pantry item. Chia seeds are not exciting, but a good pantry does not need every item to be exciting. It needs items that work. Item 2, TVP, the budget protein workhorse. Textured vegetable protein, or TVP, is one of the most practical pantry proteins because it is dry, light, compact, and fast to prepare. Plain TVP does not taste impressive, but that is not the point. The point is that TVP absorbs whatever flavor it is cooked with. That means the technique matters. Do not rehydrate it in plain water and expect a great meal. Use broth, bouillon, curry sauce, tomato sauce, or miso broth. Let it absorb the flavor before adding it to rice bowls, chili, pasta sauce, soup, or curry. That small step changes everything. The source frames TVP as a strong alternative to expensive stored protein options, and the bigger lesson is correct. A pantry full of carbs may look full, but without flexible protein, the meal plan is weak. Rice, pasta, and wheat are useful, but they need support. TVP gives that support without taking much space or requiring complex cooking. Item 1. Hard winter wheat berries. Hard winter wheat berries are different from regular flour. Flour has already been ground, which exposes more surface area and shortens its useful pantry life. Wheat berries stay intact until used, which makes them better suited for longer storage when kept dry, sealed, and protected from heat and pests. The source presents wheat berries as a long-term foundation item, and that is fair when proper storage is part of the discussion. They are not magic. Poor storage can ruin them. Moisture, heat, weak containers, and pests can all turn a good idea into wasted money. The storage method matters as much as the food itself. The best part is that beginners do not need a grain mill immediately. Wheat berries can be cooked whole like a chewy grain and used in bowls, soups, or simple meals. A hand mill can come later if the household wants to grind fresh flour. Start by learning how the food behaves in normal cooking. That is how a stockpile becomes useful instead of intimidating. The best pantry is not the biggest one. It is the one people know how to use. So which item would you add first, and which one surprised you most? Drop it in the comments, because the smartest time to fix a weak pantry is before everyone else notices the same problem.